Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is part 2. I promised that there would be a part 2. Well, this is it. I have some more really awesome questions to answer, and I'm going to actually show even more books in this part than I did in the previous part. But if you haven't checked out the previous part, I recommend you go back and watch the previous part because there was some really great stuff that I had to show and some great questions that people asked. So let's get into it with these questions. And the first question comes from Metal Bum. Do you have any info on the first Namor, Captain America, and Torch? And some timely info. So basically the first major characters for Timely, which is really Marvel, were those three. Captain America, Namor, which is Submariner, and the Torch. Now, Namor, let's start with Namor, was originally created outside of Marvel. Okay, so it's a Marvel character, but it was created outside of Marvel by Bill Everett. And he created it back in April of 1939 for Lloyd Jacquet's Motion Picture Funnies Weekly. And it was an 8-page story. It was supposed to be a pamphlet they were going to distribute in the movie theaters. Never actually happened. And only a few copies of that original comic were preserved. But it had the first appearance of the Submariner or Namor in that comic. They reprinted those 8 original pages in Marvel Comics #1, which was really the first Marvel comic, and that was in October of 1939. And they actually added a few more pages to it. They made it a 12-page story. And the other cool thing about Namor is he was actually the first superhero with the ability to fly. So Superman, you might say, well, Superman can fly. Well, Superman couldn't fly at that time. Superman could leap over tall buildings, but he couldn't fly. It was only later that Superman gains the ability to fly. So Namor was first superhero to fly. The next thing about Namor is kind of interesting. He was in Marvel Mystery Comics #8 in June of 1940, and he was the first. It was where he kind of met the Torch, and they teamed up, and they basically established a couple cool things. It was the first team up of 2 superheroes, but it was also the situation where you get these different titles that are meeting in one universe. So the idea that there's this place where multiple superheroes live and they can interact with each other and have their own adventures, but also work together in a common universe, that was a new concept that was introduced in Marvel Mystery Comics #8. So another cool thing about Namor. Okay, next character is the Torch. The Torch himself. His name is Jim Hammond, and he was actually Marvel's first superhero. And the reason I say he's Marvel's first superhero, other than Namor, so Namor really wasn't in Marvel. As I said, he made his first appearance before. Well, the Torch actually is on the cover of Marvel Comics #1, and he's the first character created for Marvel and by Marvel. So that's kind of why he's the first Marvel superhero. He was created by Carl Burgos, and the story of story of the Torch is really interesting. He was created by, he's an android actually, and he was created by Professor Pines T. Horton. And basically what happened was they put him in this glass case, and he's like this fiery man in this glass case. And this was at like a science fair. And basically he's showing this great thing that he developed, and it was in this glass case to protect the audience from the heat of the Human Torch. And the audience was like so excited that they, were clapping and really excited to see the Human Torch. And it freaked him out. It freaked out the Human Torch. He breaks through the glass case that he's in, and he basically flies around and wreaks a little bit of havoc. Not intentionally trying to wreak havoc, but he kind of does cause some damage. And he really is a character where he's learning what is good, what is bad, and he's learning about humanity. And one of the things is he actually joins the police force and helps them with their issues and cases. And so that's the story of the Human Torch. The next character is Captain America. Now, Captain America was created by Jack Kirby. His first appearance is Captain America #1, where he's punching Hitler on the cover. And his famous rival is the Red Skull. And Captain Marvel comics is from March of 1940. It ran from issue 1 to issue 75, and it sold 1 million copies. So it was a very popular book right from the beginning. And actually, Captain Marvel became Marvel's most popular, best-selling comic in the Golden Age. So yeah, that's a little bit of the history of those three characters. And Captain Marvel, really in the Golden Age, was all about fighting the Nazis. That's what he did. He was really about fighting those Nazis and spreading, American, pride across Europe. Major character for Marvel. Okay, next question. So that's very short summary of those three characters. Next question comes from Kevin Lambert. Do you ever buy comics that with slightly brittle or brittle pages? Yes, and I don't actually recommend buying comics with slightly brittle or brittle pages. Generally, though, with slightly brittle, what can happen is, especially with the older comics, you can have the paper will generally degrade over time. And slightly brittle can be one page out of 20 that just happens to have a little bit of brittleness, and they'll label it as slightly brittle. So they can be really critical on that. When it gets to brittle, though, that means that there's probably a serious issue with the comic where it can be literally disintegrating. And I have bought comics that kind of fit that bill, where they are disintegrating. I'm going to show you one, and it's one that I really like. It's just sad that it is brittle. It's Fight Comics number 31. It's the decapitation cover, and this has brittle pages. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it says brittle pages. It is a classic book. If it wasn't for the fact that that it has brittle pages, it probably would have graded higher even. But here's the issue with the thing. So you can see right in here you can see some of that brittleness. And what happens is you can even see inside the well of the case, a little bit of that brittleness is basically cracked off, and you can get a little bit of debris in the case. Generally, that's a really bad sign. You don't want to see that. I'm still happy to have this book, but at the same time, you got to be a little careful with the brittle pages. Generally, what they'll do, and CGC is really known for doing this, is they'll actually put in a special type of paper that protects pages from going brittle, like an archive paper. And just helps protect. They'll actually do it in the front and in the back of the comic, and it just protects the comics from decay. Sadly, this one has brittle pages, and it will probably decay. And that's really what you don't want to see. You want to have your comics last forever, right? But it is something you can get a little cheaper because people are a little bit nervous about the brittle pages. If you don't mind the brittle pages, you can get a lot of books a lot cheaper. Usually they will sell for a lot less than ones with like white pages or off white pages. So yeah, so something to be aware of. But I do buy them. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. And it's not something, I go out and seek, oh, let's buy some books with brittle pages just to save a few dollars. Sometimes it's better to pay a little bit more and get the non-brittle pages if you can. So definitely something to watch for. It's a hit or miss thing. Sometimes like they label things with brittle pages when really it's just maybe one page that might have an issue. But yeah, something to look for. Next question comes from Mark Marshall. Can you show off all of your Dave Stevens comic covers? Okay. Now this one, and what is your favorite Dave Stevens cover? Okay, so I'm going to show you just a bunch of Dave Stevens covers. I tried to collect the whole entire collection for Dave Stevens. I actually have a pretty good collection. I'm going to show you the majority of it. Like there's a few issues that I didn't pull out, but majority of it is here. And it's a lot of covers. He did a lot of covers. Dave Stevens died young, but he did manage to put out a lot of covers before dying. Probably Dave Stevens is best known for his Good Girl art, but he's also well known for creating the character of the Rocketeer. And I'm going to show you a little example of both in one book. So this is Amazing Heroes number 145. And this is a Dave Stevens cover with the Rocketeer right there. And the plane that he flies. And the interesting thing about Dave Stevens, when he created the Rocketeer, he created the Rocketeer's girlfriend, and she's kind of like an homage to Betty Page. So you can see that she looks very much like Betty Page. So this is the Rocketeer, and this is from 1985. Okay, but he did a lot of things. He also did Jungle Comics. Jungle Comics, Dave Stevens cover. It's really great. And some Sheena. As I said, really great Good Girl art. It's really awesome stuff here. Oh, sorry. I bumped. It's a little space here to work with. We got some Planet Comics. This is an homage to Planet Comics number 56. It's just a really great Good Girl cover. And this is the same cover. This was like sort of like a pamphlet that they created. It's the same cover as that other one that I just showed. It's like a little pamphlet. And don't think that's like some of these are mixed in. So I have some that are mixed in that are not Dave Stevens. One sec here, I gotta kind of pull these out. Okay, so one sec here. And we got this one. This is the World of Wood. I kept all the World of Woods together, and they're not all Dave Stevens covers, but this one was a Dave Stevens cover. And it's really basically a comic series that was related to Wally Wood's art. So sci-fi stuff, just some of the great stuff that Wally Wood did. Another series that Dave Stevens did a cover for was Cheval Noir, a little sexy cover. A lot of his stuff is a little bit risque. So this one's a little bit risque, almost needs some censoring, but I'll do without. So this is the Dave Stevens cover. And often when you see Dave Stevens covers, like those ones were signed fully Dave Stevens, but this is an example of one where, oh, I should have censored. I won't censor it. It's art. You'll sign it, you can see right like that. It almost looks like DS F, but it's DS. It's Dave Stevens, and this is another one by him. And then we got, these are all, I'm going to say artistic nudes. So hopefully YouTube will agree on that. So this is Erotic Illustrated, another great Dave Stevens cover. This one I'll probably get caught, so I'm going to censor this one a little bit. Sorry, I figure I can get away with some of them. This one maybe not so much. This is another great Dave Stevens cover. And he did a lot of these ones from Satanica run. It's another Dave Stevens cover. And then he did this one. This one looks almost like photorealistic. This is Amazing Heroes. It's a really great cover. And as I said, he did a lot of Rocketeer, so there's a lot of Rocketeers in here. So we got some Rocketeer. It's a really great cover. More Rocketeer. Some of these would have like Dave Stevens like alternate covers. Some of them would be like a regular cover that was not Dave Stevens. This is the Dave Stevens one. Another series that he did a cover for is Crossfire, and this one is a Marilyn Monroe like that's supposed to be Marilyn Monroe. Just kind of great cover. And some more Rocketeer. As I said, that's his most famous character. And some titles that most, like even Dave Stevens collectors might not recognize would be, this is DV8, #1. And it's another Dave Stevens cover. And as I said, he was really into Betty Page. And he actually contacted Betty Page to basically ask her permission to do her covers, and do stories with her. So she said yes, and he basically brought her back to popularity again. So this is Betty Page, Queen of the Nile, and another Betty Page, Queen of the Nile. So really, just really great covers. Lots of great good girl art stuff. Another series that he was involved with was The Shadow and Doc Savage, sort of a crossover. I'm pretty sure this is I gotta make sure this is Dave Stevens. I think this is Dave Stevens, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so this is another one from the series, #2, or #1, I should say. This is definitely Dave Stevens. And then we got some more Betty Page. That's a good one. I paid $10 for it, you can see. Yeah, it's from 1981. And then we got another series that was really great, Alien Worlds. Really great bubble helmet cover, Dave Stevens. And more Rocketeer. Just some really fun stuff there. And some more Rocketeer. So he did a lot of Rocketeers. And we're at the halfway point. There's a bunch more. Put these ones aside. Oh, actually, I'm not sure if I showed this one. This is another one of the World of Woods. A little bit of tentacle stuff going on there. And another one that's interesting, a little bit rare, is East West. Really great cover, lots of stuff going on. And then we got True Love, #1. As I said, he did a lot of covers. Okay, and we got Girl Crazy. Another Dave Stevens cover. And this one's a really fun one. This is Crossfire and Rainbow. And this is kind of like a Elvis cover. It's another great Dave Stevens cover. And This is Orbit #1. Very different style for Dave Stevens. That was always interesting. And then we got Mr. Monster. I prefer his Good Girl art stuff, but I still think that one's cool. And then another series that he was involved with was Johnny Quest. And this is Dave Stevens' cover to that. And then we got Twisted Tales. This really weird looking guy. And Vanguard Illustrated. It's actually the first appearance of the Starjammers, or Stargazers, I mean. I think Stargazers. And then we got more Rocketeer. It's like lots of Rocketeer. It's a little bit disorganized. I gotta reorganize my Dave Stevens collection. It's more Rocketeer. And Viking Heroes. It's kind of an interesting title. This is Viking Heroes #5. He didn't do the rest of the covers, just this one. So this is one of my least favorite Dave Stevens, but it is a Dave Stevens. It's just like this weird alien one. I kind of like the more Good Girl art stuff, so this one doesn't really appeal to me. But this is Komiko Christmas Special. It's like aliens. Then we got more Rocketeer. Another Rocketeer one. There was like so many different Rocketeers. So this is Rocketeer Adventure Magazine. He did like all the covers for it. And we got some more Rocketeer. You'll notice that some look like duplicate covers. It's actually different titles with the same cover. So that this one you might have feel like a little bit deja vu. Well, it's because they reuse the covers sometimes for his work. And also they would have variant covers for a lot of his stuff where they would just like take like a splash page from Dave Stevens. And this is an example of that. So this is kind of like a Betty Page looking one, but it's really the girlfriend for the Rocketeer. And then we got Space Vixens. I really like this cover. And this is a rare one. This is Movie Star News. Betty Page on the really great Betty Page. I'm gonna save this one. This is Black Angel. She was a character from the Golden Age that would fight the Nazis. And yeah, just a really great cover. I really like that one. One of my favorite covers is this one. DNA Agents. DN Agents. DNA, but it's really DNA. Just number 24. And I've actually had 2 copies of that one. And then this is another really rare one, Bad Planet #6. Not many people know about this one. It's a more scarce one to find. I actually was really lucky. Somebody listed it for $6, so I picked it up. But normally it goes for even like $100 or $200. It's really kind of scarce. This is another one of these splash page ones. Just a really great one. There's actually, I have an homage to this as well, but this is the original Dave Stevens cover. And we got some, as I said, there were variants as well with Dave Stevens. This is a variant of that one that I showed like twice now. So this is the black and white variant. And then we got some more Rocketeer. More Rocketeer. You can never have enough Rocketeer. This one, again, I like these little photo books. It's kind of nice. And some more Rocketeer Adventures. I mean, really great. He has a really great sense of layout. I don't know how to describe it, but I really like his stuff. And this is another one of these splash page ones. Very sexy. I can't let him find out about Marco. Oh, why did this have to get so complicated for me? Very sexy, fun. And then we got more Alien Worlds. Another great Dave Stevens cover. This is a little earlier of his work. And then we got Alien Worlds, but this is not a Dave Stevens. Sorry, it's all together. These ones are not Dave Stevens, but more Alien Worlds. Okay, keep those all together. And another great one is Vampirella. This is Dave Stevens' Vampirella, one of my favorite covers for Dave Stevens as well. And I'll show you my favorite Dave Stevens cover. And I'm always battling between this one and the DNA Agents 24, but this one I really like. I just like it for different reasons. So this is King Kong. And the reason I like this one so much is I was a big fan of the original King Kong movie, and this really kind of stirs that memory of the scene with him holding the girl in King Kong. That's like one of my favorite scenes as a kid. I just loved that scene. I don't know why. And you know, just the sort of that damsel in distress. I don't know, maybe. So yeah, this is King Kong. Just really enjoyed that cover. And I'm going to show you one more cool cover. This is Cheval Noir #1. Another great Dave Stevens cover. And I have one special Dave Stevens cover that is his first Dave cover that he did. And I think he was like very young when he did this. I think he was like 14 or 15. And it's like his first comic artwork. It's The Creature #1. And this was, you know, he was really young when he did this. This is from, I think, the late 70s. I think like, I'm thinking like 76, something like that. One sec, does it say? No, sorry, I'm mistaken. 74. So he's really young when he did this. And this was, as I said, he was like, this is his first work. Just shows his level of skill, even at that age. Just really great. So yeah, so that's the Dave Stevens collection. There was a couple that I didn't show. As I said, there was a few that I didn't show. But that's the majority of my collection. Okay, next question comes from Martin Bow. Do you have any Journey into Mystery before number 83? So number 83 of Journey into Mystery, which I have right up there. I'm not sure if you can see it. You can maybe just see the top of it. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, you can't. It's just out of the range of the camera. So I do have Journey into the Mystery number 83, which is the first appearance of Thor. I have that book. Do I have things before that book? Yes, I do. But I don't know where they are. So I have a box that has early Journey into Mystery and early Tales to Astonish and early, like some of the early like monster related books. And I just couldn't find it. I was like looking, I'm like, where did I put it? I'm not, I sort of moved it from one box to another box, but I forgot what was that other box. So I really need to go through my entire collection and reorganize everything. That's one of the things that's my dream. At this point, I feel like I have to almost dream of that wonderful day where I'm going to reorganize my whole entire collection and get it properly sorted out. I just need to find the time to do so. It just keeps on getting messed up and I just can't find anything. It drives me crazy. But I do have some. I just don't know where they are. So I really want to show them, but I just couldn't find them. Last question comes from Mike Swintel. He wrote Harley Quinn number 48 from 2018 by artist Humphries. Which is the first appearance, like first printing, I should say. He's seen copies that have a barcode on it and ones without the barcode. Both are the first print. Both are the first print. From what I can tell, the ones without the barcode are more scarce. For every, like, it seems like for every 10 with the barcode, you see one without the barcode. I'm not sure if it's a newsstand thing, like, or like a direct edition thing, but it seems like there are like it's like the barcode is more common than the non-barcode, but both are first prints. I did look it up. Yeah, so I hope that helps. So don't be nervous about buying the one without the barcode. It is a first print. Okay, from what I can tell, that is all the questions. I hope you enjoyed the answers. I hope you enjoyed seeing my Dave Stevens collection. I'm a big fan of Dave Stevens, so I always love showing off his covers. Yeah, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I'll use the questions from both this video and the previous part for next week's video. So stay tuned for that. So again, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye for now.